Hello, everyone. So, let me express my gratitude for the opportunity to work here and present this message here. And it's not a message that it's going to say the end of the world, right? Usually when you see this phrase right here, the times have come, it means that it's the end of the world. So let's not think on this way. And I'm going to explain why we think that it's going to be the end of the world, right? Let me bring a question here from Kardec. The question 932 from the Spirit's book. Why in this world does the influence of the bad often overwhelm that of the good? Can someone here answer this question? Why? That's our perception, right? Our perception is like that. Everything around is so bad. Bad news are popping up everywhere. Why?
The news itself is
what?
fine. The news itself we get is always on the bad.
Yeah, the news is the consequence, right? What is done, right? But why?
The human nature. The human nature.
Human nature, but there is something, human nature is, let's say, is a consequence.
Sensationalism.
What? The lack of evolution. As I said, it's a consequence of that. Can I satisfy with the answer? Okay. In a shorten, it's because the bad ones, they are very noisy. That's the main topic. That's what the spirits told us. Because of the weakness of the good, we are so shy. As the good ones, we are so shy. But the bad ones are very noisy, intriguing and bold, right? And the good, very timid, very shy. When the latter want to, they will prevail. Right here, we can save the world, right? But we should not be so shy. Let's propagate the good. And the times have come is the time we were all invited as incarnated ones. We compromised before our incarnation to participate on that. But we are still very shy. Okay? Good answer, short answer. Right? So let me bring up the references for today. We've got 4 references from Kardec. Unfortunately, the first one over there was not translated to English. Was not written by Kardec, but the Spiritist Society of Paris, after Kardec discarnated, the Spirit Society collected some writings from Kardec and put in a book. So it's a book that is very difficult to study because it's not well organized as a Kardec's book. Okay? And there is no chapter numbers. So, but you've got good notes there. Okay? The second one there, the Genesis. In the Genesis, there is a chapter indicating that times have come. It's impressive because Kardec was telling what's going on right now 150 years ago. Was not a prediction, was not something like a psychic one to predict what's going on, but based on the evolution of the humanity. This is what's going to happen to make the transition to the regeneration world. That's what we're going to talk here. The Spiritist Review, 866 October. It also has an article there expressing the times have come, indicating, I will show you here later. It's very impressive what Kardec presented, and we are facing that thing right now. You're going to see here. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, we've got in the chapter 3, the inhabited world's scale, right? from the words of the primitive ones, proof of atonement, regeneration, happy ones, until the divine ones. And these 3 books right here, thank God they are in English, they were translated. The books were brought by Divaldo Franco from the spirit of Manuel Filomeno de Miranda. And these books right here, they present to us what's going on in the other side, on the other side. How complex is being this transition on the other side, right? All the engineers involved, everything involved from the other side. And of course, impacting us right here. So pretty good books here from Divaldo and Manuel Filomeno de Miranda. Okay? Okay, we cannot talk about this evolutionary period. We cannot talk about without saying the geophysical evolution of the earth, right? Here, everybody knows him, right? Jesus. Jesus is the governor of the earth. So if you see in this book right here, On the Way to the Light, Emmanuel, by the hands of Chico Xavier, described exactly what Jesus is doing since the beginning, 4.5 billion years ago. Jesus was preparing the earth. We are right here, less than 1% of the total time of the earth. Humankind is just about less than 1% of this total number here. So 4.5 billion years ago, this thing happened. This process here, can you imagine that it's just a matter of chance? Not a matter of chance, right? It's not a big coincidence. Some kind of intelligence is building this up, right? For us, 4.5 billion, we don't have this idea, but for him, not so much, right? And here we can see this huge transformation. Do you think that we are here for less than 1%? Do you think that he will let us destroy everything that he built in 4.5 billion years? Of course not. Of course not. So, and that's amazing here, because what I like to say here is that if someone thinks that it's a matter of chance, it's a big coincidence that this thing happened, I will challenge, if you go to a junkyard and explode the junkyard as many times as you want, I promise you that you never obtain a Mercedes or even a Beetle. Explode so many times. That's what happened here. Look at that. If you don't have an intelligence behind, this thing will not happen, for sure. Okay? This is to remember us that we've got someone and his team taking care of us, taking care of everything, right? So keep your faith on him. So if the things are going bad, please, there's someone much above us that is controlling, besides us, doing a lot of bad stuff. Okay? Make sense here? Okay, have you heard about this? The prophetic sermon is in Matthew 24. So we are talking about Jesus. Let's talk about this sermon in the Bible, right? I'm going to shorten. It's a pretty big one, but I'm going to shorten and extract some quotes from there. Let's reflect on this, right? The first part here is saying that Jesus was leaving the temple. The temple is where the Jewish went to vow their God, okay? His disciples came to him to show him the structure of the temple, the material structure. Here's the temple, here's where we put the offers and blah, 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 and so on. But Jesus said to them, do you not see all of this? Truly I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. So when you read the Bible, don't read the Bible ipsi literis. Read the Bible as a metaphoric one. Jesus was talking to the spirit, not to the material world. So when he was saying that all the stones here will be down, what does that mean? The temple was a symbol of hypocrisy, right? The Pharisees. Jesus was all the time struggling with them because they were very hypocrites, right? So what he's saying that the temple will be down. This hypocrisy here will be down. Okay? And here they got another one here. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and they will deceive many. For us, what Jesus is saying here, for you to know the real Christ, for you to know the fake, if it's a fake Christ, you need to know the real. Right? Make sense? So, how can you say that it's a fake if you don't know the real? Jesus is inviting us, please, understand the real Christ. And then, look at that in this one here. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but do not be alarmed. For all this must happen, but it's not yet the end. So, I think every period of the humankind, we've got wars. It doesn't make sense that Jesus to talk, oh, you're going to hear wars every time. The man was fighting to each other for a long time. What Jesus was saying here is the internal fight. Look at that. We are suffering here as a humankind, as an internal fight. Who am I? Right? Who am I? The ideas, the ideological ideas are fighting, spiritual fighting. That's the wars. That's the wars and rumors of wars that he was mentioning here. But it's not the end yet. It's not the end. Look at that. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. The pain is just in the beginning. Because in the prophetic sermon, he was mentioning what? The end of times, right? This time that we are living right now. It's not the material world. Let me skip here. And because of the weakness that abounds, what was the question that I presented in the beginning? Right? The weakness of goods. The love of many will grow cold. That's what we are perceiving here. We are not perceiving the bad stuffs, right? That we can do something. But who endures to the end, the same will be saved. So let's persist. Let's believe in him, on him. And look at that. And this gospel of the kingdom of God will be preached in all the world as the witness to all nations, and then the end will come. Jesus is saying here that the end of this era, right, will be when the gospel will be everywhere. It's growing, but it's a little bit far to the entire world. Make sense here? So it's pretty short. We can talk about, let's say, 3 or 4 lectures about the prophetic sermon. But just to shorten what Jesus mentioned at this time, right? And this is the important thing here. The gospel. The gospel should be spread. Should not be imposed, but spread, right? It's not to get the Bible and give to everyone, now follow the Bible. No. Our heart should be impregnated with the gospel And then we are going to transform this gospel into actions. Okay? Make sense here? Okay. I mentioned to you in the chapter 3, the gospel of spiritism. We've got the different categories of inhabited worlds. Inhabited worlds means where the spirits are living. Okay? We've got this scale right here. Where do you think we are? In this scale right here. We are as a planet Earth. Where?
Before regeneration.
I would say here, right? On top of the atonement and proofs. We are not a primitive planet anymore. Besides, we've got some society living in a primitive condition, but the overall situation is not a primitive one. We are right here, and we perceive that Kardec defined this category here as predominance of evil. That's what we can see everywhere, right? And if you think you are not, if you think that you should not be in this planet right here because you are better, I would say in your prayer at night, talk to your guardian angel and ask him to discarnate you and promote you to another one, right? Because we are...
Happen, right?
Huh?
And that will happen.
That will happen, for sure. That will happen, right? I heard someone told me that I don't want to come back to planet Earth. I don't want to come back.
That's a primitive word.
Yeah, that's what I said. So I would love to be back here because it means that I am growing like the planet, right? If I don't come to Earth, maybe they're going to send me back, right? And that's what we are. That's what we're going to reflect here, is this transition here from here to here. We're not going to talk about happy, right? Or divine. Divine, got no idea. Regeneration, it's something that it's reachable, right? We've got few people around the world that are living at this level, but the majority are here. By far. And the happy one would be the one that finally, the good outweighs evil. Right? That's the scale here. Good news here, this scale is upwards. There's no backwards. No backwards. Go ahead.
So that, that's why I get confused. Does it mean that we progress on this earth as time goes by, but then, so does that mean it's based on other worlds existing? Or it's like a different time lapse? Like, that's why I get confused.
So this is the evolution of the planet Earth. I'm going to talk about the spirit scale. Because each one of us, you cannot have a beautiful neighborhood if you don't treat your garden, right? If you don't treat yourself, if you don't promote yourself, if you don't evolve yourself, the planet, your neighbors, will move up, right? So in this case, you're not following the evolution of the planet. I'm saying planet Earth. So in the universe, we've got zillions of planets, right? Different planets, different categories. So Jesus mentioned in the gospel that there are so many living planets in God's in the spiritual life, right? So many. We don't know. Zillions of planets, zillions of spiritual colonies. Okay? So, but here, what I'm saying is the planet, is the overall situation of the planet. And the overall situation of the planet is the sum of each spirit that is attached to the planet. Okay? That's the reason we were invited in this incarnation to participate on that. Let's promote the planet Earth to a better category. Okay?
So in the material, do you believe there's other planets that are like primitive, like in this material? Like
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what the doctrine says.
Yeah?
That the scale of planets.
Yeah.
All the planets are due to progress. So once progress comes to planet Earth, is going to change from atomic to food. And of course, the energy in the planet will change. So if you don't change your energy, you're probably not going to be able to
Yeah.
incarnate here anymore because you don't fit.
Yeah, it's like a student. It's like a student.
It's not a punishment. It's just
It's like a student in a classroom, okay? A student in a classroom. Let's see, you've got the classroom being promoted, first grade, second grade. But there's 2 or 3 students that are not following the group. What happened to them? They're going to stay. And they're going to stay until someone would say, this school is not the right one for you. I need to put you in another school. Right? The planet Earth is a school. It's a school, a hospital, penitentiary, asylum, everything here. Okay? So, but this is the planet. So what Peter said is about the inhabited worlds in the universe. But for us to be promoted, we need to understand our individual scale, right? The spiritist scale, right? 3 orders here. I'm not going to talk about the binary one because Kardec made 2 classifications. One is a binary, which is the elevated spirits and the non-elevated spirits. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk in the 3 orders that he mentioned. The first order, the third order is the imperfect spirits.
present.
Me too. Me too, right? Yeah. And so, just by curiosity, when I start to read this thing in the book, I thought I was a good spirit because I'm good, right? And say, I'm good, I'm fine, right? And when I start to read, no, I'm not good. I'm pretty close to here. I'm pretty close to this caveman here. Right? So, but that's what we are gonna, the same, like the inhabited worlds, this curve is upward. There's no backward. But depending on your efforts, it could be this one or could be slow. Could be faster or slow. Depending on us, each one of us. And what happened with the earth is the sum of all the spirits. So most of us are here. Right? Which means that the earth is a planet of proof and atonements. If we improve ourselves, each one of us, to good spirits, for example, we are going to be in a better category of this world. Make sense? Okay? I'm not going to talk about pure spirits because pure spirits are Jesus, done. That's what we need to know. Good spirits are the ones that are promoting the good. Right? What?
You just say present.
Okay. Okay, any questions here? That's in the Book of Spirits questions, question 100 until 113. Okay. What's going on with the earth right now? A massive emigration is taking place. Spirits are moving from the planet Earth to another planet. Probably to be a planet in a lower level than the planet Earth. Right? So, the ones that are being emigrated, those who practice evil for evil's sake. I think each one of us, we can mention just one name. I'm not going to ask this question here. But the one that I love to do what I'm doing, right? And I don't regret anything that I did. So that's a person that, it's a candidate. It's a very candidate to, okay, you're not in the right classroom. Let me move you to the other classroom. But it's not a punishment. It's not a punishment at all. It's just something that, okay, you are not in the right classroom. I'm going to put you in the other classroom. But you're going to help the other classroom to move up. Why? Because we know a lot of technology, right? You can bring up the technology to the other planet, to the other world, and help them to identify, create the fire.
Like the Capella spirits.
Capella spirits is one example, right? That's what happened. It's not a punishment at all. Don't think that if we are moving here, it's not a punishment. You create that thing. Law, it's a cause and effect. You didn't do well, I'm going to move you to another planet, period. And it's being gradually replaced by spirits in a better situation. Right? The generation that is coming from the Spiritist books is saying that it started by the end of 18th century. So what happened by the end of the 18th century here on planet Earth? The French Revolution. So at this time it started, but now it's accelerating. It's speeding up. And so because we are receiving a lot of spirits, elevated ones, that are helping us on this transition. Okay? So let's see the candidates. Let's list the candidates here. Potential candidates to emigrate from Earth. First one, the one that it's revolted against God and just believe in the humanity. Just believe that we are going to be born and we're going to be in the graveyard and that's done. Because you don't see anything beyond what's going on in the material life. Propensity of anti-fraternal feelings of selfishness, pride, anger, hatred, jealousy, etc. It's because you are not contaminated by good, right? Predominance of attachment to all the material stuff. It's mine, my car, mine. So you're going to suffer, right? Because the world is not the material one. And the last one, but not the least, is the rebellious spirits that are deaf to the appeals of good and reason. Our guardian angels are populating us with good messages. But if you don't listen to the good messages, probably you're not gonna be promoted. Okay? Okay, that's a good one in this book here that I said that was written by the Spiritist Society of Paris using Kardec notes. What would be the signs of the time? That's a very impressive. The first sign, spirits unaware of the voice of God will cause scourges and calamities, so that without wanting it, they will hasten the advent of the era of renewal. Can I give an example on that? So a tragedy, flooding and something. If there is a flooding, you can see that everywhere there's a people charity donating something. We never seen that thing before in the humankind. So it's increasing that thing. And most of, for example, flooding, in most of the cases, of course, is the nature. But sometimes it's the human negligence, right? So this negligent, I would say, the one who is working for the public, right? He should pay attention to this. But because of his or her negligence, the flooding happened. So if the flooding happened, you see a lot of people helping each other. That's one example. They are hosting this new era. That's very impressive here. The suicides will multiply in unprecedented proportions, even among children. If you get any statistics from today, you can see this curve of suicides and kids' suicide growing up. And this was written 160 years ago. So that's a sign, a strong sign of this era. But why the suicides are happening a lot? It's because of the spirits being very rebellion with the situation. They are fighting to each other. It's the war, internal war. A suicidal is caused by an internal war. Reach an extreme situation that promotes the suicide, right? So that's the rumors of war that Jesus mentioned. And this one is also very impressive. Madness has never struck so many men. We can see the madness everywhere here, right? Crazy guys around. But look at the final phrase. Even before they die, will be wiped out of the number of the living. Can you get this? Can you give an example of this? Exactly. Drug addiction. So sad, right? And here, it's presenting exactly the situation that we can see around, caused by drug addiction. So that's the signs of the times. Written 160 years ago. And we are facing right now. And we were invited to help on this. Sounds good here? But good news is that do not believe in the end of the material world. Don't believe that the moon will fall down here, the earth will be cracked into pieces. Don't believe on that. Humanity has reached one of the spirits of transformation. We had so many in the past. And the earth will rise. It's not the earth may be. The earth will rise in the hierarchy of the worlds. We are going. We are going. But we need to do our part. So, it's not the end of the material world, as we said before. That's being prepared. But the end of the moral world. That's the era that is being over. It's the old world, the world of selfishness, pride, fanaticism that is being wiped out. So that's what Jesus mentioned in the prophetic sermon, that the temple will be turned down. Okay? Make sense here? All set? A question. I think you know the answer but don't. Is there any specific date for this? For this transition to be completed? Is there any specific date? Have you heard any prophecy?
One too many.
Yeah. Have you heard any prophecy with a date or a year? Can you guess? No? Guess.
50 years.
50?
Years.
From now?
I have heard, I don't know if it quite applies to that, but I heard that was 50 years, whether or not to determine if we're going towards the regenerational state.
Yeah, don't you think that 50 years is very optimistic? Everything around here 50 years? So you mentioned a good point that you hear someone saying that thing. Kardec in the Medium's book, item 267, it's an item where Kardec presents some points for us to identify the spirits, okay? And there's a specific item there, the item number 8, which says that if you hear some prediction of dates coming from the spirits, be aware. Because probably it's not a fraud, but it's someone trying to play with the medium. Because a good spirit, a elevated spirit, will not give a date. This will happen on. No. He would say, this will happen, but not with a date. Right? And let's go back to the prophetic sermon. Look at that. Concerning this day and hour, no one knows anything, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, Jesus. Only the Father knows, only God. So if Jesus doesn't know, how can a spirit like us would say, 3,000, 2,100, the earth will become a regenerated one? We don't know. It depends on us. Remember the spirit scale? It depends on us to improve. Right? We cannot outsource that. We cannot make an outsourcing on that. We need to improve by our own efforts. Make sense here? Okay. So we understood that we are in a transition area. But how can we collaborate on this transition? I will show you here a checklist here for us. Okay? First one, spreading good and not spreading evil. So simple, right? But we've got this good friend right here that in most of the time what we are doing, spreading good or spreading evil. I can suggest you the Socrates filter. Have you heard about the Socrates filter? True, good, useful. Before you spread something, is it good? Is it true? Is it good? Is it useful? If you don't answer yes for the 3 ones, probably your chance to spread evil is pretty high. Make sense? Number 1. Second one, we need to understand the immortality of the spirit. Because we are not going to be saints in a single incarnation. Right? If you think that, tomorrow I'm going to be a saint. No way. We are here to improve ourselves. Right? So, but in a long term. That's important to know. Self-knowledge. How can we improve ourselves if we don't know ourselves? We need to deep dive inside of us and identify my virtues, my weakness, and improve. Right? Self-knowledge. For us to grow up in the curve that we presented before, we've got 2 wings. One wing is the moral, the other wing is the intellectual one. Here, we are very intellectual, but our moral is short. We need to improve the moral. But to improve the wings, we need to do by our own efforts. As I said before, we cannot outsource. Do it for me. No. We need to do by our own efforts. Right? And remember all the time that we are apprentice of gospel. If we are apprentice, we are going to make mistakes. But it's our obligation to repair the mistake, right? As a student. Next one. To love God above all things. That's the first commandment. And the second commandment, right? Love your neighbor as yourself, which is the charity. Charity is love in action. Love is a feeling. Love in action is charity. Okay? But it's important to know one thing here. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't practice a self-knowledge, how can you love yourself? Right? It's pretty common that we forgot to love ourselves and try to love your neighbor. It's something unbalanced. Trusting God and developing a reasoned faith. Remember the geophysical evolution of the earth? Jesus, right, was managing this evolution, but under gods, right? Under gods. So, trusting God and developing the reasoned faith. What's developing the reasoned faith? It's exactly what we are doing here. We are studying, we are trying to improve ourselves. Okay? Because there is a very thin difference between the faith without reason and being fanatic. Right? There is a very thin difference. That's the reason we need to improve the reasoned faith. Can you give me an example in the gospel of the first guy who used the reasoned faith in the gospel? First one. I'm saying the gospel with Jesus. First one, very common. I think you know the story. No? St. Thomas. Remember St. Thomas? Everybody, I saw Jesus, I saw Jesus, I saw Jesus. What happened with St. Thomas? No way, I saw him. I saw him dying. No way. So Jesus went there and showed, look, it's me. Believe me, it's me. Here's my stigmas here. So he was the first one who used the reasoned faith, right? Don't believe on what I'm saying. Go to the books and read and make it logic in your mind. Make sense? And the last one, apply. I would not say all the time, but most of the time, the law of justice, love, and charity. If you apply this law, you're going to help this transition. Okay? Make sense here? This list? Rich? Check, 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 check. And done. Okay? So, you want to take a picture of that to memorize? Take a picture, memorize, put in your agenda, and do it. Because the knowledge without action is useless, right? Here we discuss the knowledge, but we need to put that thing into practice. Because if not, it's useless. It's just a waste of time. Okay. This book, unfortunately, is only in Portuguese, but was the last book from Divaldo Franco. That was the last one that he brought to us from Joana de Angelis. This book was from 2023. It's called Regenerated World, if I can translate that. The great moral process of humanity is germinating. It's in the very beginning, but it's accelerating. It's in the beginning, but it's accelerating. Like the calm that follows the storm. You see it everywhere. I can give a bunch of examples that, for example, 100 years ago, a little bit more than 100 years ago, slavery was pretty common, right? It was normal. was accepted by the society. Women, they didn't have any civil rights. So it's improving the stuff. The companies, the big companies, like Google, for example, Google started with this. In the work environment, they promote some kind of humanity, right? Work-life balance. 20 years ago, the companies were not talking about work-life balance. Now the companies are talking so much about work-life balance. Okay? And here's the invite here, that we all receive it when we incarnated. Be part of this dawn and be happy from now on. So that's the invite. Be part of this. Promote yourself. Take care of your garden. If each one of us take care of our gardens, the neighborhood will be good. The country will be good. And so on. Right? Okay? Okie dokie. Chapter 3 is the chapter where Kardec brought the different categories of inhabited worlds. So let's see this phrase to make this close out here. In your world of proofs and atonements, our world, planet Earth, you need evil to feel good. You need night to admire the light. You need sickness to appreciate health. Contrasts. We need that thing. Because in this stage of evolution, we need the opposite to make valuable the good one. On the more evolved worlds, there is no need for such contrasts. For example, I cannot imagine to be sick in a happy world. Doesn't make sense. It will not aggregate anything, right? The eternal light, the eternal beauty, and the eternal serenity of the soul provide an eternal joy, free from being disturbed by the anguish of the material life and by the contact of the wicked who do not have access there. So imagine if you live in a world that you don't have bad guys around you. Can you imagine that? It will be fantastic, right? It will be fantastic. This is what the human spirit still finds most difficult to understand. So we did a kickoff here. So I hope that it promote interest on you to go deep in this study. But we need to understand this transition. Okay, to not say, oh, the world is gonna end, the world is gonna fall into cracks, the moon will fall here, there's a meteor coming that will destroy everything, there's a nuclear war that will destroy. No, there's someone that is under control, that's controlling all the situation. Okay? So I appreciate your patience. Have a nice day, have a nice evening. Thank you.